In this video we are going to explain the 10 characteristics of an installation that must be taken into account to recommend an air conditioner with a high SEER performance coefficient with a higher performance. We are talking about inverter equipment. We are going to explain what are the criteria that we must take in account to make the recommendation of a high performance team. Let's go then with the first characteristic of the installation. The high-performance inverter air conditioner is profitable when the equipment is going to be installed in premises where it is estimated that the equipment will work at different times of the day. We are not talking about the number of hours in this characteristic, but we are talking about the hours in the day during which the team works. That is, if the team goes to work sometimes during the day, other times in the afternoon, other times at night, or even on the same day, it works in the morning, in the afternoon, in the night, but we are working on different stages of the day. If that is so, then we can recommend an inverter unit with a high SEER coefficient of performance. Let's go with the second feature. So we can say that an inverter air conditioner with a high SEER coefficient is recommended when the room where the equipment is going to be placed has a variation in the number of occupants that greatly influences consumption. That is, sometimes we are going to have few occupants. Other times we are going to have quite a few occupants. Other times we are going to have half the occupants. We are going to have different characteristics of occupancy or thermal load per person. So if that is the case, we can also recommend a high-performance inverter air conditioner because we are going to see that the client will see the energy savings in the equipment. Let's go with the third characteristic. It is more profitable to install a high-performance, high CDR inverter air conditioner if the equipment has windows or wall where the sun falls at certain times of the day, but to others the sun does not fall. So, if these conditions are the ones we are going to have, the ones we are going to find, where we are going to install the inverter air conditioning, it is also recommended. Then the equipment with a high CER coefficient of performance, we go with the fourth characteristic to consider. It is more profitable to buy an inverter air conditioner when there is a presence of equipment that generates heat. There will be a presence in the premises of equipment that generates heat, and sometimes they are on and other times they are not on. That is, there is a variation in the thermal load due to electrical devices. If that is the case, then we can also recommend our client, or you can also be recommended to buy an inverter air conditioner with a high CER coefficient of performance. We go with the fifth recommendation. With the fifth characteristic, it is more profitable to buy a high inverter air conditioner performance when the temperature that is customary to place in the equipment is greater than 21 degrees. If we are going to place a temperature higher than 21 degrees in that room, then it is also advisable to buy a CER invert equipment with CER Alto. We will also see the savings. So, the temperature, if we are going to always place the equipment to work for temperature at room temperature less than that value, then the savings of the inverter equipment are lost there. So if it goes even above 21, we can recommend buying that team. Let's go then with criterion number 6. Recommendation number 6, or characteristic number 6. It is more profitable to buy a high-performance inverter air conditioner when the activities carried out in that place are different in the same week or throughout the month, when at some point we do one activity and at another time we do another activity. There is variation in the thermal load due to a change in activities. We can also recommend an investor team. Here we may be thinking, but when you see a change in activities, a clear example is the rooms that are rented by the hour. At times the classroom has an activity, on another day the classroom has a very different type of activity. So in those cases, a high-performance inverter air conditioner with a large, high CER value is recommended. Let's go with characteristic number 7 to take into account to buy an inverter air conditioner with a high CDR. It is more profitable to buy an inverter air conditioner with a high CDR when there are constant doors opening and closing in the premises, when people are entering and people going out at certain hours of the day, at some stipulated hours of the day and others not, but there is variation in thermal load. So it is also advisable to buy an inverter air conditioner with a high CER coefficient when there are people entering and leaving at certain hours of the day, or whether there is a variation in thermal load. We can also recommend the purchase of an inverter air conditioner with a high CER. We say if the inverter air conditioning is installed in places that can change the work area, it is also recommended. How is this? Well, many times there are large rooms and several pieces of equipment installed due to the characteristics of the activities that are going to be carried out. The areas where the air conditioning will influence can be changed. We can divide that room in a few days with a certain area with movable walls. Other days with larger areas. Then if the air conditioner where the site where the air conditioner is installed has these characteristics, then we can also recommend an inverter air conditioner with a high headroom and thermal load variation due to changes in the area of influence of the equipment. We can also take into account to recommend the acquisition of an inverter air conditioner the number of working hours that the equipment will have in the week. In general, the influence of an inverter equipment will be reflected more when we have a greater number to 40 hours of teamwork per week. There we are going to see energy savings in a more insufficient way in the payment of electricity consumption. As a summary, we can say if the air conditioning is going to be installed in a place where there is variation in thermal load throughout the working hours of the equipment, then in this place it is advisable to purchase an inverter unit.